In 2018, children younger than 3 years old accounted for nearly half of all child abuse and neglect cases in Washington state. Of kids entering the state's child welfare system that year, more than a quarter were infants, younger than 1 year old. In early 2020, a Washington, D.C.-based nonprofit called 0 to 3 connected with the Center for Children and Youth Justice to explore working together to learn whether Washington state could benefit from a new protocol they developed, the Safe Babies approach, which had been successful in other places at making babies safer and keeping families together.
CCYJ was made for this. We work across the state with families, advocates, stakeholders, and government to advance system-wide changes that produce better outcomes for kids and families. In this case, we had a distinct problem, the nation's third highest rate of babies being placed in foster care, and a promising solution that was trauma-informed, equity-based, and aligned with our values. So yes, we agreed to do a landscape analysis to see if 0 to 3's approach to early childhood courts and Washington state's needs and systems were compatible. And because exploratory work like this is difficult to fund, we expected to rely on our committed philanthropic community to get the work done. What no one expected were the challenges we all shared in 2020.
I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
One of the most vital events of the year, the annual Norm Maleng Breakfast and Fundraiser, was slated for April. We faced a monumental challenge.
Instead of planning a celebration in honor of CCYJ's founder, I suddenly had a completely different task on my to-do list, calling our donors and breakfast sponsors to ask if they wanted their money back, including David Zapolsky.
David Zapolsky is the Chief Legal Counsel and VP of Global Affairs at Amazon and a longtime supporter of the Center for Children and Youth Justice.
Unrestricted resources are vital to launching new work. They provide us the foundation to assess the data, convene and synthesize the information into more formal proposals and requesting for funding. And you have to begin somewhere, and that takes resources we depend on from the mailing event. I can still remember making that call, and I remember exactly what David said. Absolutely, keep the resources. You're gonna need them now more than ever.
I'm David Zapolsky, and I am passionate about creating a more just system for our youth. Early in my career as an assistant district attorney in Brooklyn, New York, my focus was primarily on sex crimes, child abuse, and domestic violence prosecutions, which made an incredible impact on me as a young lawyer and is rooted in why I have supported and championed and invested in CCYJ since the beginning. In 2013, after I became general counsel at Amazon, I took action and founded the Amazon Legal Department's Pro Bono Initiative, also known as the Amazon Justice League, which encourages and enables Amazon attorneys and legal professionals around the world to donate thousands of hours to pro bono legal work every year. As of last year, we had collectively donated more than 52,000 hours of pro bono work around the world. Philanthropic investments from individuals and from corporations are vital for nonprofits, particularly ones like CCYJ. These investments can build from our initial investments and expand resources. Think about it, CCYJ is creating more than just systems. Independent revenue to evaluate these systems objectively by convening those closest to the issues, collecting and evaluating the data, and offering ways in which the system can shift for the better is an essential nutrient for systems to grow. And when we lead, others will invest. Investments are contagious. One person commits and others join, and that's why I give. It's a true honor to be among some of the biggest champions on youth reform system in Washington. And there has been no greater champion than CCYJ and the vision of Bobby Bridge and that organization. It's a particular privilege and honor to have been there from the beginning to support the organization, and together we can make a difference in the future.
David's support in that moment was an extraordinary act of generosity and a much-needed vote of confidence. But it was far more than that. Based upon the strength of our landscape analysis, in late 2020, we began hosting a series of meetings with a variety of stakeholders from across the state that resulted in a single framework that everyone could support and follow as they responded to the challenge of babies coming into foster care. Additional private investments and financial support came in. There was a lot of interest and momentum in initiating pilot implementation sites. But if we were going to make a difference as a state, we needed to ensure we were working consistently. In 2021, CCYJ got to work with our allies to codify the framework into state law. We drafted legislation, partnered with allies in the legislature, and made our case to the press and to the public. Private funding and support continued to come about from 0 to 3, Balmer Group, and later CCYJ was able to secure federal funding. Thanks to our funders' generous help, we were able to successfully pass Senate Bill 5331, establishing a statewide standard of practice. This led to the creation of 5 early childhood court programs across the state using 0 to 3's Safe Babies approach. There is even interest in the methodology now among tribal courts in our state. Our ultimate goal is to make a difference inside the homes and communities of babies and their families. In less than 5 years, CCYJ introduced a promising practice into our state, built consensus on how to adapt it, and passed legislation making it a part of state law. Our work will continue with ECCs as we study the implementation of our collective work with our partners at the Administrative Office of the Court and secure sustainable funding for the long term. At every step of this process, we were able to count on the support of our generous and committed private sector donors. At a time when millions of Americans and countless organizations were being told no, David Zapolsky told us yes. Continue to carry on and make a difference in the lives of those individuals that need us more than ever. And I'm proud to report that it's working. And I'm equally proud to announce this award and honor him here today. Please join us in celebrating David Zapolsky.